Hi, Kerry. Welcome to A Word to the Wise. Thank you so much for being here today. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful, and I'm so excited to talk to you because I think that this conversation is timely for the new year. And, people are starting their New Year's resolution, trying to build, better routines and build a healthier lifestyle. So I think that our conversation is really going to help with a lot of those New Year's resolutions and you giving our listeners some tips today.
Yeah, I'm very excited. And this is a great year to look ahead to the future, but also to look back on the last year and see all of the wins that you've had. So this will be a great time to go over your habits, your routines, and I could give you tons of tips and techniques and some tricks.
Yes, awesome. So, first and foremost, I want to talk about you and let me know if I'm correct. But you started off as a lawyer. Now
Mhm.
you are a coach and a teacher for athletes. So, how did you make that transition?
Well, I was an attorney and a mom of five, and then I decided to start teaching yoga while I was
Mm,
still practicing law. So I took a teacher training and I started teaching yoga on the side, and then I started studying anatomy because I wanted to kind of separate myself from the other yoga teachers. So I figured I would teach anatomy to yoga teachers. So
mm,
started studying anatomy, and that kind of led me into mindset, studying the brain, peak performance, which is something I had always been interested in, but I got more and more interested in it at that time. And when that happened, I started coaching and I also started teaching people some of these techniques that I was learning about. And I found it really interesting because these mindfulness techniques, these tips and tricks I'm going to teach you, they've been around for thousands of years. And they're all the simple things we all know how to do. We just don't do them. So
mm.
I'm here to remind people of the simple things that they can do to change their life easily and quickly, and not by taking hours a day, just by taking a few minutes every day to do something healthy.
Awesome. So, you say that there are pillars to physical health and routines for an optimal body. Can you talk about what those pillars are and how they connect to the body, mind, and spirit?
Yeah, well, I believe that the whole body is, I like to look at myself and every human as like one holistic being, right? So body, mind, and spirit, it's all connected, it's all one thing. And I think that people forget that sometimes, so what will happen is people will excel in one area. So maybe they'll excel in their health, but then their career suffers, or they excel in career, but their parenting suffers. So, what we really want to do is see if we could start to improve ourselves across all of the categories, and that's when you start to see some real progress in your life, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And are you saying that the mind, body, and spirit are the pillars of health together, correct?
I don't necessarily think of it as pillars, but if I were to think of it as pillars, I would think of it as body, mind, and spirit. I like to think of each human as just like a system almost,
Mm-hmm.
and instead of pillars, just more like an interconnected system where everything that happens in my mind affects my body, and everything that happens in my physical body affects my mind, my emotions. Every single thing is connected up. So we're so used to thinking of, our physical body as one type of health, and then our
Mm-hmm.
mental health is something different, but it's all connected. If your physical health is not good, your mental health is often not good. Sometimes having poor mental health could affect your digestion. We know this.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of even looking at it as pillars, which is definitely a great way to look at it, body, mind, and spirit, I like to think of it as every part of my body is connected one to the next, my body, mind, and spirit. And any improvement in one of those areas is going to help me in all of the areas. So, what I like to do is help people look at their whole life and say, what areas can I improve? Because you can't work on everything at all times, but what areas can I improve that will really impact my whole entire life? So for most people, if they improve their health, it would improve a lot of other areas of their life. You improve your health, you have more energy, you can work more, you're a happier person, you're a better parent, you're a better lover, you're better in so many ways. So, the key really is to look at yourself as one whole being, What if in 1 year from now we got back together? Imagine what we could actually accomplish if right now we made the decision. So if right now I said, you know what, I'm going to work on my health all year. Every single day I'm going to do something for my health. Guaranteed a year from now, if you saw me, I would look totally different. My body would
Mm-hmm.
be in better shape. So I'm really interested in finding simple tools for extraordinary living. How could I live an extraordinary life but not spend all of my time trying to live an extraordinary life? So you can spend an hour doing exercise, an hour doing yoga. You could drink your 10 million glasses of water and eat perfect and, prepare every single meal yourself and do every single thing perfect. But does that mean that you are like having a happy life? So you want to look at your whole entire being as one whole thing, and then figure out how can I improve in one area to help me all across all of the platforms, all of the
Right.
categories.
Right. So as human beings, we're definitely creatures of habit, right? And we develop patterns that we stick to that just become autopilot for us. And sometimes when we
Right.
try to break out of some of the bad habits that we have, it can be very hard because at that point our brain is just like on autopilot, and it's kind of like we're a machine, and it's like we just are so inclined to continue to do what we've been doing even if it's no longer working for us. So what are some easy ways, or what are some easy to implement tips for creating better routines, especially like in the morning and at nighttime?
Excellent. So that's really what I teach a lot of now. So I just wrote a book on this exact topic. So
Mm-hmm.
the first thing is I would love everybody to stop trying to get rid of their bad habits. So the way your brain works is the more you think about something, the stronger those pathways in your brain get. So even when you're thinking about something negative, like if I think like, oh, I'm not getting anywhere with my career, and I think about that all the time, that's the thought that is being strong, getting stronger and stronger in my head. So I like the idea of not thinking about all of the bad habits I have that I want to get rid of, but I like to look at what good habits can I add into my life that will make it so eventually I add so many good habits in that the bad habits overflow out of,
Mm.
you know, and then I'm not working against myself. I always want to keep myself in a positive headspace. So if I'm always thinking like, oh, I just failed because I didn't live up to, whatever I decided I should do for myself, I try to keep myself in a positive headspace. So part of the way I do that is to always have these little wins. So, one of the simplest ways that you can change your life immediately and add some of these good habits is start first thing in the morning.
Mm.
So, why don't we add the good habits in usually? Because we wake up, we hit our snooze button, we go back to sleep, we hit it, we hit it, we hit it, we wake up finally, we're late, we run around, now we're going to yell at our kids, we're going to forget to, bring all our paperwork to work. We're not going to be in our best position, right? But if you hit the snooze button first thing in the morning and sit up and meditate, or if you jump out of bed as soon as the alarm goes off and just spend 5 minutes exercising or 5 minutes doing yoga, and then when the alarm goes off again, hit it and just start your day. Instead of snoozing, you spent 5 minutes meditating or exercising, you will have changed your day. And I'm telling you, something as simple as that can change everything. Because you
Mm.
start your day with a win, you start in your positive headspace, you feel good about yourself instead of feeling like, oh, I can't believe I hit my snooze button 7 times. You feel like a winner and it sets you up for your day. And what I believe is great days make great weeks make great months make great years, and great years, that's how you make a great life. So we can start with something so simple. You guys can tomorrow, as soon as your alarm goes off, think of me, hit your alarm and sit up and do something that really feels great. And if you need ideas, I do have my book, Tools for Extraordinary Living, the snooze button sessions, which is exactly that technique. You don't even need my book because I already just told you what the technique is. The snooze, the alarm goes off, you hit the snooze, do something that feels good for you. And in my book, I talk about all different things you can do. I'll give you a few examples. You can meditate, you can do breath work, you can do some stretching, you could do quick, you could do jumping jacks, you can listen to music, you could snuggle with a loved one, you can think about things you're grateful for. So there's so many things you can do that just take a couple of minutes in the morning to completely start your day off on the right foot. There you're starting your day differently. And I'm telling you, if you keep doing that, your whole life starts to change. You might not notice it at first because it's very subtle, but you will slowly but surely start changing other things.
Those are fantastic tips. Do you have any tips for nighttime routines? Because a lot of people don't talk about that often, but I do think your nighttime routine could really play into how you start your day off in the morning.
I think it's totally true. And the nighttime routine, I like to think of as in my morning routine, I'm starting my day. My evening routine, I'm ending my day. But you can actually know for sure, guys, that you can start and end your day in a beautiful way if you choose to by on your own creating a morning routine and an evening routine. In an ideal world, maybe that would be a 30-minute morning routine or an hour morning routine and an hour evening routine. But if you don't have that time, why not start right now with 5 minutes in the morning, like I told you, the snooze button, and 5 minutes in the evening? So, what I suggest people do in the evenings is, let's just say you're going to give yourself 15 minutes before bed without your phone. So you set your alarm for 15 minutes before you want to go to bed.
Mm.
And then your alarm goes off on your phone. You put your phone away for the night. You put it to bed. And then you do your evening routine. For me, I always like to, do my hygiene piece. So like, wash my face, brush my teeth. I like to do something that's really nourishing to me. So I'll do either some yoga or I'll do some journaling, and then I like to spend some time with my husband at night before I go to bed. So that's my evening routine. But that could also change. At this point, I actually do have a 1 hour morning and a 1 hour evening routine. And I find that when I stick to that, my days go pretty well because it doesn't matter what happens in the middle of the day. I know at night I'm going to come home, I'm going to be in my bathtub at a certain point with my Epsom salts, I'm going to have my candles on, I'm going to read, spend some time with my husband, and I'm going to have a nice evening. But you don't have to start with the hour. I don't even suggest you do. I say you start with 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening.
Mm.
So 5 minutes tomorrow morning, your alarm goes off, you do your 5 minutes, whatever it is, gratitude, journaling, exercise. 5 minutes before bed, your alarm goes off, you kiss your phone, say goodnight, and then you again do something that feels really good. A nice thing to do at night is actually do something called the magic I witnessed today.
Mm.
So you just sit and write down all the amazing things that you saw during the day. And what's nice about that practice, if you do that every night, and again, how long does that take? 2 minutes, 3 minutes? If you do that practice every evening, what happens is during the day, you start scanning your surroundings for good things because you want to be able to have something to write down at night. So that's actually something that influences your day. And by the way, the things that you do in the mornings and the evenings during your morning and evening routine, practice new things, right? So if you've never
Mm.
meditated, add 5 minutes of meditation to your evening or morning routine and practice it, because what you can do is use those morning and evening times to practice things that are tools that you could also then use during your day. So you could learn a breathing technique that in the middle of the day, even if you're at the office and you're stressed out, you could do this breathing technique. So you could use these morning and evening routines as a way to remind yourself, I can control my feelings, my emotions, I can
Yes.
be in control of my health.
Right. So one something else that you talk about or you think is really important is the idea of having an active lifestyle
Yeah.
as a way to really help with mental health and peak performance. Can you talk about that a little bit more?
Well, our body is meant to move. We know that. And I have always been very active, I guess, because I have 5 kids. So I'm always running, right? But during the pandemic, I was not as active. I was on the computer, I was doing hundreds of calls, every month pretty much. And I just sat here and I noticed my mental health changed.
Mm.
I wasn't as in such a good mood as I usually am, and I didn't have as much energy physically.
Mm.
So, our human bodies are meant to move. We're not meant to sit in a chair. And really, a chair is one of the worst things we could do for ourselves. So, it's really important to make sure that even if you do have a sedentary job, every 20 minutes or half hour, you get up and walk around for a few minutes. You could stretch in your chair. There's so many things you could do now. You could go on YouTube and get any video and even do like office chair yoga. But beyond that, just always finding times to walk a little extra. I like to like claw back time. So times when I don't have time to do something, but I could add in a little something into my life. So like when I
Mm,
park at a supermarket, I park far away from the door. So I walk a little further, and
mm,
I carry all the bags in myself instead of having my kids carry them in because I figure, oh, this is a little bit of exercise. So there's always times throughout your day that you could add a little bit of activity. And I really try to do that and pick times that are easy to remember.
mm,
So it's a thing called habit stacking. You pick something you're already doing and then you add something else to it. So you eat 3 meals a day, most people, right? So after or before every meal, you could take a walk, right? So that could be a habit that you have. So you take a habit you already have and stack another habit on, and it's a great way. So you could, if you work at an office, a nice thing to do is to just have everybody go for a walk for 10 minutes after lunch. Just say, I'm going to go take a walk. Does anyone want to come with me? Now you're going to start building community. So when you start to have an active lifestyle, it opens the doors to community, and your health is going to improve. And this is what I'm talking about. You can change one little thing, say to your coworker, hey, you want to take a 10-minute walk with me? And now all of a sudden, other areas of your life are getting improved. Your health is getting improved. You're starting to have better friendships and closer work relationships. Who knows? Collaborations. So always looking for ways that you could optimize your life and make it easy. I think that we've gotten to where we make things so hard. It's such a to-do list to keep myself well. And I don't want it to be so hard to be well. you know, I don't want to work so
yeah,
hard.
it shouldn't feel like homework. Yeah.
It doesn't make me feel good to work so hard to feel good.
Yeah, I think that a lot of people get overwhelmed by the fact that maybe they haven't been in the best shape or their mental health is a bit rocky, and implementing these habits, and just they get overwhelmed about looking at what the end goal is supposed to look like,
Yeah.
and it stops them from making these incremental changes. So I really like what you said there about stacking a routine on top of another routine that you're used to doing. I think that's a great way of kind of like building that, kind of making that new routine that's better more automatic for you in your brain, so that you don't have to think about it too much. It doesn't feel like homework. You don't have to look at a to-do list. You're just like, oh, well, I know that I'm going to start working before I eat my next meal or after I eat my next meal. So it just becomes like super easy to pick that up. Another thing, too, I noticed with people is that people tend to look at working out or moving your body as a means to just lose weight. And I think that's also something that overwhelms people and might stunt their consistency in being, what's the word? In being active. Or they're active for a certain period, they lose the weight that they want to lose, and they stop being active because people only seem to think about exercise, not all, but most of the time, in just the realm of like losing weight or getting trim, and it's way beyond that.
Yeah, I don't think people remember that we are literally made to move. Our bodies are not made to be sedentary, right? And really, I like people to stop thinking about losing weight completely. I would
Mm,
like to get rid of the whole concept of dieting and all of it because it's a very punitive way of living. I
mm,
like to think of what can I do to keep myself healthy? What is the food that would be healthy for my body? What is the exercise that would be healthy for my body? And then it takes away a lot of the guilt. So what people do is they say, "Oh, this is bad. I'm cheating now. I'm eating this
mm,
cheat day." And I think it's very detrimental to people's mental state and their mindset in general. I would rather think like, oh, right now I'm eating a piece of cake and I'm loving this cake and I'm enjoying this cake. But normally I would eat more healthy foods. Like in my head, I prefer to just think of like the majority of the time I eat healthy. And then sometimes, at a celebration, I might have of a dessert, but I don't say this is good food, this is bad food. So starting to think more from, again, a holistic viewpoint, a whole view, a one person view, that it's all connected. And yeah, I can have a piece of pie if most of the time I'm eating healthy. And that's what the balance is in life, you guys. The balance is saying to yourself, I want to be healthy, but I also want to enjoy my life, because you could go unhealthy and like really eat badly and not exercise at all, but you could go the other direction and like your whole life could revolve around every speck of food you're eating and all of your exercise. So for me, I don't want either side. I want to live healthy and have fun and enjoy myself, but not have my whole life focused on that. So everything that I teach basically is, how do you take things that you want to incorporate into your life and get them into your life in the simplest way possible. So all of these things we've been talking about are easy ways to do that. Another really good one is, like, every time you're brushing your teeth, since you're looking in the mirror anyway, you could do like affirmations. Like, you could say to
Mm.
yourself, like, I love you, or you are safe. Say during the pandemic when people were stressed out, I suggested people, when they were brushing their teeth, to say, like, I am safe, I am protected, all is well. Just as they were brushing their teeth, look in the mirror and say, and I know it sounds silly and it sounds like almost like woo woo or something, but you're basically just training your mind. You're rewiring your brain. Your brain is wired to notice all the negative around you to keep you safe. And we're not really in danger as much as we used to be back when we lived in cave time. So we always feel like we're in danger, but we're not. So we want to rewire our brains. And the way we rewire it is to start stacking on a positive habit onto something that we're already doing, Because if I just sit all day thinking about all my negative habits, or like, oh, I can't believe I ate that pie, and I can't believe I didn't exercise, and I can't believe all the things I didn't do, I'm not going to get anywhere. I'm just kind of spiraling back into that pattern. So, stop really saying good, bad, just think more of like, what is best for my health. If
Mm.
I want to live a long, healthy life, what would that look like for me? And that looks like something different for everybody. So always making these small changes and stacking on the habits so that you can create actual change. I find that a lot of people learn a lot and they study it, or they'll take the course, but then they don't put it into action.
Mm.
I do know some people put it into action, then they stop, but a lot of people, they don't, they just learn it and then they never do the homework, or they never, or they'll start doing it and they stop for a while and then they just give up. So I just say, keep getting back up on the horse, keep.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think
Well,
people go through the lesson and don't really make the steps to implement it into their lives?
I think it's because we make it so difficult. We make it like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I have to exercise for an hour. I have to do
Mm-hmm.
yoga for, 75 minutes, and I'm going to meditate for 30 minutes. Like, it's so much work. Do you ever notice when people make New Year's resolutions, you make these resolutions that's like impossible to ever live. Like, I'm going to never eat sugar again, and I'm going to go to bed every night at 10 o'clock, and I'm not going to curse, and I'm never going to yell at my kid. And you make all of these wonderful, you know, goals that you have for yourself, but it's not even realistic. But what if you say to yourself, I'm going to get up tomorrow, and for 5 minutes, I'm just going to pay attention to what I'm thinking? You can do that. Or like, tomorrow after I eat lunch, I'm going to call one of my friends, or I'm going to call my mom, call a family member, whatever it is. You're going to set a habit in place. Every day after lunch, I'm going to spend 5 minutes talking to someone I care about on the phone, or, texting them, whatever the habit is. If you just start a small habit and you find success with it, then I think that you'll be more encouraged to try again. But the other thing I notice is people don't stop and celebrate their wins. So at this time of the year, I like people to look back. I'm trying to do it myself because I never look back and celebrate my wins, and say, like, what are the things you accomplished? A lot of times it can feel like you're running in place. But if you stop and look back, like if I look back from now till a year from before this, I had not published a book. I've also wrote other books that I haven't published yet. So during this year, I wrote 5 books. I published one. I'm about to publish a second. I have a lot of one of my kids got engaged. So I had a lot of different things happen, but normally I wouldn't think of those things. Normally, what would I be doing? What you said before, like, I have all these other books. When am I going to publish them? How am I going to market them? I don't know what to do with these. I don't know what to do next. I don't know how to, I want to be a speaker. How could I get more speaking gigs? I've only had a few. I could worry about what I haven't done, or I could celebrate my wins. So be grateful for all the things you accomplished and everywhere you are in your life. And maybe pick 1 or 2 categories that in the next year you really want to focus. Like, I know I really want to focus on my health this year, because I really want to increase my muscle mass, because I lost a lot during the pandemic. So I'm in my 50s now. I don't want to let that get out of control. So I know if I don't take care of that soon and get back in shape I was in before the pandemic, I'm at the age that it might get harder and harder for me. So I'm not going to
Right.
let that go. I have a friend who's concentrating on just improving their quality of life. So this whole year, they're just doing things to improve their quality of life. So they'll take more walks and take more trips, and they're doing things like that. So it's a great time to celebrate your wins, but it's also a really great time to figure out, what do I want to accomplish this year? And then what are these small habits I can put in place throughout my days in order to keep moving each day towards it, right? Keep my energy level at a certain level, that and my mindset in a good place where I still am making forward progress towards the life I'm dreaming about.
Right. So it's basically start small. Don't try to create these huge, huge goals that you have to undertake because you might not stick to them. Would you also say like people need to be flexible sometimes? Because I think sometimes people feel like, oh, yeah, well, I committed to 10 minutes of working out a day and I've missed 2 days. So, like, let me just give up because I haven't been able to stick to the 10 minutes every single day that I had originally wanted to.
I used to do it all the time with journaling because I was like, I want to journal every single day of my life. I've been saying that since I was a teenage girl, probably even younger, right? Like I had my little diary with the lock back then. Not that I had anything to write that needed to be locked up, but still, but and then I remember I would journal for a while and then I would stop and then I would be so upset about myself and I would see the journal and almost be like, I would feel guilty, like, oh, I haven't written in my journal. And then I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to go back. I was setting myself up for disaster. But then one day I was like, wait, though, but at least I was reading my journal and I was like, oh, it's actually cool that I was reading something about it. Somewhere we were on a holiday. I forgot what it was. And I didn't even remember the entire episode. And I'm like, oh, if I hadn't written this in my journal, I wouldn't even have ever remembered this event. And I realized that instead of worrying about the days I missed, I should be happy about the days that I journaled. So I
Mm,
think the key to all of it is constantly being proud of yourself for the wins that you made, even if it's a tiny win. I did get out of bed today and exercise for 3 minutes. I am proud of myself. That is what I'm talking about. I sat there and brushed my teeth and told myself that I am safe, I am protected, all is well. Like, I am proud of that. I didn't yell at my kid when I wanted to. You have to start really being proud of the things you do. And I mean, I'm one of the worst culprits of this because I never celebrate my wins. But when I don't, I tend to feel like I'm not getting anywhere in life. So now I want to say I am getting somewhere. I'm just not looking back there. I'm always looking that way. So stop and look back, and then it helps you to look forward even more. And actually, when I look back, it really motivates me because I'm like, oh, I wonder what more I could accomplish
accomplish. Yeah.
next
Yeah.
year.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Well, you said that you have a couple other books in the pipeline. For the next book that you're hoping to publish, what is that book going to be about?
Well, the three books that I wrote, this one is Tools for Extraordinary Living, the Snooze Button session. So this is more like entry level. Like you don't do any wellness practices. You don't even like the word mindfulness, and you think it's all stupid.
Mm,
That's what this book is. This is the Snooze Button sessions, and it's the simple tools that'll get you started. And they're things like meditation, but they're easy meditations. They're not any kind of snake charmer involved. I'm not going to
yeah.
be like, drumming or anything. It's just your very basic, thinking about what you're thinking about. I teach some basic breath exercises, gratitude practice, which is just make a list of things you're grateful for. It's nothing crazy, but it gives you those simple tools that you could use in your morning routine, but that you could also use throughout your day. My second book is Routines for Extraordinary Living. That's when I expand it. So it's more of an intermediate. So now you have your morning routine. Now let's make an evening routine. Let's create some routine throughout the day for your health, for your relationships. And then the third book in this series is Mindset Mastery for Extraordinary Living. And that's when you really take it to the peak performance. That's when you already are kind of living in flow most of the time, and we really just want to tweak it to where we're moving really strongly in the direction of our goals. So the third book is pick a 5-year goal, and now we're going to really
Mm,
focus and make that happen. But you've already put the other things in place. You're already, your health is in order, your environment is in order. So the first two books are getting everything in order. So the third book, you could focus on really becoming the very best version of yourself and living the extraordinary life that you really dream about, which is what I'm all about. And people say, like, sometimes my kids will make fun of me, like, how do you teach about extraordinary living when you don't know how to live extraordinary, mom? And I'm like, well, mean. But, they with me so they could see me when I'm yelling and I'm not at my
Yeah,
best. I'm
right.
certainly not living my most extraordinary life. But, this is all a practice, you guys. And life is just about, learning tools that you could use. So those moments when life gets a little bumpy, you have them to lean on.
Right.
And then when life is not bumpy, you have them so that you could really supercharge. So
Yeah.
whether life is up or down, starting to have these tools in your tool chest is one of the best things that you can do. And I really do think people will see a huge difference, even if they do the only thing I said, which is start with that snooze button session in the morning. Alarm goes off in the morning, hit the button and do something. You get to choose what it is. Hug your spouse or your partner, dance, listen to music, journal, just notice your breath coming in and out at your nose. You don't have to do anything fancy, right? Dance, jumping jacks, whatever it is. You could open your window and look out the window.
Right.
Just do something different tomorrow than you normally do and do it for a few days and see how you feel. So tomorrow do it, wake up, do your 5 minutes. When the alarm goes off, just go about your day. But at night, notice, do I feel any different? Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but do it for a few days running. And then maybe you'll do 2 snooze button sessions. Maybe you'll get up, hit the snooze button, journal, and then you'll hit the snooze button. You're like, oh, maybe I'll stretch a little bit right now,
Mm-hmm.
And who knows, maybe eventually you'll have a 30-minute routine in the morning. And this is when things start to stack up. And by the way, I wrote my book, Tools for Extraordinary Living, the Snooze Button Sessions, during my snooze button session. At a certain point in the mornings, I started saying, oh, I really want to write. I'm going to journal. Journaling turned into writing. Writing turned into this book. So
Awesome.
you can actually get things done. I approve of it.
I love it so much. Thank you so much, Kerry. This has been a fantastic, fantastic conversation. As you know, this podcast is called A Word to the Wise. So, final words of wisdom to the listeners. It could be about what we've been talking about or something completely different that you kind of keep in your back pocket as you go through life.
I would love to say that we all have an amazing opportunity every day, but especially now during this time period. So we just came through a really rocky time in the world with the pandemic. We all
Mm-hmm.
had a lot going on. The whole world has changed, but it's actually very exciting because here we sit at the end of a year and we are looking forward to a brand new year ahead of us so we can really reflect back on how strong we've been over the last few years, how much the world has changed, how many skills we have learned, how strong we ourselves are. And now we can begin to look forward into the future. And my word to the wise is you can be the very best version of yourself and you can live the extraordinary life you imagine and you dream of, but you have to roll up your sleeves and get to work. It doesn't happen by magic. So get to work a little bit every day, moving towards your dreams.
Perfect. I love that. I love that so much. Thank you, Kerry, again for being on the show. I'm going to put links to your website, social media, and your book in the show notes for the listeners. So thank you so much.
Thanks so much. It was great talking with you. Have a great night. Take care.